Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our SWAC Football Championship media session. We'll begin here momentarily. Just a few quick updates for all of our media participants. If you do have any questions for any of our participants, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question, potentially a follow-up question. If we do have additional time allotted in our participants' availability, we will work our way back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, also please do not ask your question prior to being called upon, and please ensure that your lines are actively muted unless you are actively asking a question. With that being said, happy to be joined by SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClellan. We do want to once again remind you, if you do have any questions for our commissioner, please utilize the raise your hand feature. With that being said, Commissioner, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Commissioner, if you could please start us out with an opening statement previewing the upcoming Pepsi SWAC Football Championship presented by General Motors.
Thank you, Andrew, and good morning to all. I bring greetings to you from the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I apologize for the background. I am in Washington, D.C., and I think the item of today and tomorrow for the Southwestern Athletic Conference is to solicit our national legislatures, both on the House and the Senate side, in regards to name, image, and likeness. So myself and my fellow HBCU commissioners, Jackie McWilliams, Anthony Holloman, and Sonia Steels, we're all here. We'll be meeting with key members of the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate to ensure that the HBCU voice is clearly heard when it comes to name, image, and likeness, student athletes, and our views upon the current situation as well as future situations as regards to our student athletes. So I wanted to open up our comments by basically stating that we are active here on the Hill, and we do have the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the other HBCU interests at heart, and we will continue to work to ensure that once any federal legislation is passed, that HBCUs are in the forefront and we won't be left behind. Also with that, wanted to let everyone know that we are still excited about the forward trajectory of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We have, again, based upon our preliminary numbers, outnumbered all FCS institutions as far as attendance is concerned. We've had several games that have sold out. We have to get confirmation on this, but based upon our records, the top five Classic, the top five attended games in FCS are all within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So still going strong, still great brand, great championship coming up here at Tallahassee, Florida. Obviously, Florida A&M will be hosting Prairie View. It's going to be a rematch from the beginning. I know that Coach McDowell will talk about, he didn't have all of his players when they played the first time, and he's going to be full strength this go around. So I know that he's ready to go. And I know Coach Simmons, as I watch him on TV, most Saturdays he got shotgun at the top of his shirt. So Coach Simmons hasn't changed his style. He's going to put the ball in the air, and I think that's ultimately what the Southwestern Athletic Conference is about. Two dynamic quarterbacks. Connolly has been everything for Prairie View, and we're looking forward to an outstanding contest. So again, the state of your conference, we are strong. We're continuing to build, and we're going to continue to grow national audience, record number of games on national television. So again, welcome everyone, and I will pause there and I will answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for those opening comments, Commissioner. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
It's Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Commissioner Dr. McCullough.
Good morning, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Thank you. Good to see that you made it to Washington, D.C. safe. With the opening statement, can you give us a general framework of the SWAC and HBCU stance on NIL?
Well, ultimately, all four conferences are for name, image, and likeness. We are for the student athletes being able to capitalize upon this athletics enterprise. You know, you have Senator Booker and Senator Blumenthal had the initial bill that was put out probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. There were some items in there that, at least from my perspective, did not fare well for HBCUs. Those items have consequently been taken out. I think one of the bigger issues that we're going to have to face within the intercollegiate model is whether or not student athletes are deemed employees. You know, some think that we're on the trajectory where that's inevitable. Some do not. I don't want to speak for the other three HBCU conferences, but within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we are for the student athlete being able to get all that they deserve, but with limitations. One thing that we look upon very candidly within the Southwestern Athletic Conference is the protection of student athletes. We understand that our model is not the same as the Power Five, nor should it be. And that's part of the reason why we are here. But if we're a group within the category of the Power Five and our student athletes are deemed employees, that means now they have to pay taxes. They have to pay taxes on their scholarships. As you know, Dr. Cavell, still well over 80% of our students are on some form of financial aid. The vast majority of them receive some student loans. We do have, obviously, student athletes that are on full scholarships, but when you start talking about having to subsidize, you know, they're already hard to get scholarships, and you have to pay taxes on it. If the institution have to pay matching taxes on those dollars, most, if not all, of our athletic programs are heavily subsidized by the institution. So now you're talking about an additional supplement just to be able to pay taxes. Ultimately, what we believe is that student athletes, especially at our level, become employees will negatively impact our ability to be able to fund, which could result in programs being cut. And I think you know probably better than anyone, being at Prairie A&M University in 1989 and 1990, what happens to our institutions when our athletic programs are cut. Students leave. When students leave, formula funding leaves, and therefore your institution becomes crippled. So we think that it is a direct tie, paying student athletes and the overall enrollment of our HBCUs, because athletics is the window in which, you know, we're able to advertise our programs. And we've seen if we don't have those athletic programs, our student enrollment dips. And I don't think anybody wants that. Given, you know, the recent Supreme Court decision about diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially there in the state of Texas, HBCUs now are more prevalent than ever. They're needed now more than ever. And our athletic program provides a wide opportunity, not only for student athletes, but students to attend HBCUs. So the messaging is a lot bigger than just playing sports. It's about the survival of our HBCUs.
I appreciate you sharing that information. One follow-up question. In that vein, the Transformation Committee released its framework of how it thought things should move forward at the FBS level, Division I level for the most part. At one time, there were thoughts about the SWAC in terms of looking at moving to the FBS. I don't know if that's still on the table, but I certainly wanted to understand how that transformation studies impacted that long time framework for the SWAC in that way or any other way for that matter.
But, and again, we've always talked about strategic goals and objectives. We have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Currently, there is no path in order for a conference as a whole to move up. What we wanted to do was position ourselves that if that ever became a reality, we would be in prime position to do so. I think one thing that I have been very confident about within the Southwestern Athletic Conference that ties directly to your question relative to the Transformation Committee, once it was voted and passed that it takes $6 million for you to go from FCS to FBS. And then on top of that, you have to spend at least $5 million in scholarships. And I think one thing that a lot of people miss at FCS, you're able to utilize financial aid in the calculation of scholarships. You can't do that in FBS. So if you look at the highest spending school within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, from a scholarships perspective, you're talking in the $2.5 million range. But a large majority of that, again, is financial aid that is coupled with that, because that's what the rule is from an FCS perspective. So if any FCS school wanted to go FBS, you're talking $1 million, $1.5 million in scholarships that they're spending now, up to $5 million. That's a significant jump. The Southwestern Athletic Conference now out-generates all FCSs as far as revenue is concerned. We've had a record distribution. This year, we distribute more than any FCS program. We are the most powerful, the most prominent FCS conference, especially when you lock in the Celebration Bowl and our ability for example, Florida A&M to host the championship and the revenue generating that we have. So I think the Transformation Committee decision has strengthened the Southwestern Athletic Conference, because you can be a part of us, national television, unprecedented national television, unprecedented distribution, great competitiveness. Just look what our basketball has done. Look what our football has done from an out-of-conference perspective. So, we're just wanting to continue to position ourselves in a pattern of strength, and we will be able to pivot, move, and we will be nimble based upon the NCAA rules. So we haven't put anything aside. I will just answer that question with this short answer 5 minutes into the explanation. We have a plan A, we have a plan B, and we have a plan C, and we're ready to enact all three of those plans.
Thank you, Commissioner. Safe travels. Look forward to seeing you in Tallahassee.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Commissioner, how's it going?
Morning, Kendrick.
Yeah, there was a lot there. You mentioned how the strength of the SWAC conference is kind of tops in the FCS, and you mentioned distribution. How much are schools actually being distributed based on your assessment of where it is financially?
Well, great question. I am going to decline at this time, Kendrick, to give specific numbers. The last time I did it on this call, I had a couple of media partners there that didn't believe, and I had to go and kind of defend the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The one thing that I will say is we are extremely confident that our distribution is the top of FCS. I'm extremely confident that our revenue generating is the top of FCS. And I am extremely confident, as we said last year, that we are very close to outgaining from a revenues perspective some of the FBS conferences. The SWAC is strong. We continue to grow, and our revenues continue to be strong, and we will continue to distribute. The revenues that we receive is primarily targeted to giving back to our member institutions so they can continue to grow and get strong. So I appreciate the question. I'm going to decline to give specific numbers out of respect for our member institutions. But again, we are very clear that we're tops of FCS as far as distribution is concerned.
All right, I know it's a football chat, but I want to ask you about basketball, with you being head of the Division I men's basketball committee. It was announced before the season started that the NIT would no longer have regular season champions be automatically in the tournament. And I know, like the SWAC and the MEAC, they kind of rely on being in their pool if so happens that the regular season champion doesn't win a conference tournament. What are your thoughts on the NIT's move to go in a different direction?
Well, I think the NIT had to do what the NIT needed to do in order to maintain their relevancy. Within our community, a lot of people don't know there was a Fox event that was out there that was soliciting those teams that would be participating in the NIT in a separate event. The NIT is not an NCAA entity per se. It's not a part of the championships. It's separate. They have a separate board, and that board had to do what was best for the NIT. Unfortunately, we lose an AQ opportunity, But I've said this from day one, Kendrick, we want to continue to build our program where we're competing at the highest level, not just relying on AQs. We still have work to do, but when you look at our basketball across the board, scheduling has been significantly enhanced. As a matter of fact, I think you've written an article about all of the out-of-conference wins that our teams have. When you start looking at the net, which is the evaluation tool, and you have other metrics that are out there, you have the Ken Palm, you have the Saragans, you have all types of ratings. You have those ratings that are predictive based, and you have those ratings that are results based. And what we've tried to do is take all of those predictive and results based analysis and fit it to a scheduling philosophy. And if you schedule correctly and you win those games, then we can raise our profile as a conference. And we've continued to do that. Those out-of-conference wins will help us at the end of the year. There are NIT slots, not just relying on the AQ, but getting a berth based upon our overall competitiveness in basketball.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Commissioner. I hope you and everyone in Washington are well. Can you just talk a little bit about what you would like to see in terms of this opportunity and this meeting and meeting of minds where people can sit down in the Capitol and kind of discuss different parts of HBCU and college athletics?
Well, I think the first thing is for them to know who we are and that we are representative of over 50 institutions across, the South and the Southeast. And I think that's significant because, in my opinion, when you look at the Congressional Black Caucus, several of those members represent not only our schools, but several of those members are graduates of our school. And if you take that, it's significant because most legislation could either be passed or not passed based upon the Congressional Black Caucus. So we want everyone to know that we are here. We want our voices heard, and we don't want this legislation, if anything is passed, to be passed without the voice of the four conferences. This is one visit of many, but I think it's a significant step in the right direction as the Power Five have their voices. They have their lobbyists. We want them to know that the four HBCU conferences, we have our voices and we have our lobbyists as well.
Finally, the SWAC in terms of media, and you look at your reach and opportunities for exposure, different networks and what have you, but just talk a little bit about the media aspect going forward. And a lot of eyeballs are out there and what you guys look forward to in the revenue piece.
Yeah, we talked about it last year, James. The addition of Allen Media Group has been a game changer for us. For us to be primetime on Saturday live coast to coast is significant. And we want to continue to grow that model. I think, a lot of people underestimate ESPN Plus, but our numbers for Plus have been sustained from a good standpoint. When I say sustained, those numbers don't fluctuate much, and they are really, really highly viewed games. So, in this era, 23, 24, 25, 26, digital is going to be extremely important. And we want to make sure that we touch every gamut. We're not there yet. When I say we're not there yet, we want 100% of our football games on. We had 83%, so we still have a little bit more work to do. But we're going to move to having all of our men and women's basketball games on some form, and as well as our Olympic sports. So the model that we had was a 5 to 7 year trajectory of being able to get everything on. Now, when we signed that Allen Media deal last year, it was at the last minute. We got the deal done in August, and they were up running in September. So we're literally just a year and a couple of months into that Allen Media deal. And we are, again, confident that we're going to be able to continue to grow, not only with Allen Media, but ESPN as a partner as well, to be able to get even more of our games on a national level.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
All right, we've got time for one more question. That'll go to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Commissioner McCullough.
Morning, Charles.
I wanted to ask this quick question in regards to NIL and the reason for you being in Washington, but especially when you take a look at the geographic footprint of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Do you get a sense of the congressional support for the challenges that the NIL sometimes presents for HBCUs?
Yes, I do. And I think, several of the bills that have been filed has been filed with the voice and the input of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I think when you even look at the original Booker and Blumenthal bill, it had where you put money into a pot and then everybody generates from that pot based upon revenue. And we were able to get that messaging out that our pot consists of student fees and auxiliary money and parking fees that our universities supplement. And one size does not fit all within the NCAA. So I do think 100% that the message has been received, but we want to continue to deliver the messaging so everyone understands how significant and how relevant HBCUs are. Charles, I would say this again, going back to, the DEI efforts of the institutions that now from a federal Supreme Court decision, is starting to go away. And in certain states, especially in the southern states, you're starting to see it at the state house. HBCUs are now more important than they ever were to be able to educate, our population. And when I'm talking about our population, I'm not just talking about the African-American population. I'm talking about the historically underserved. And that spans across races, and in my opinion, is more socioeconomic than it is race-based. So we are extremely, extremely significant in the overall grand scheme of this educational system. Athletics is the window. We know when you win championships and when you're on national TV, your applications go up. We know your enrollment goes up. That's why these Power 5 schools are spending hundreds of millions of dollars per year on the athletics program. It is to supplement the overall institutional educational mission. There's no difference in that mission with HBCUs. We just go about it in a different way. And we need to make sure that everyone understands the differences between the FBS and the FCS. All significant, but different ways of attacking the same problem. So our goal is, again, to get that messaging out and not to let that message lead. It needs to continue to resonate day in and day out.
Good thing. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Commissioner, we sincerely appreciate your time. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we will go to Florida A&M, Coach Simmons. Coach Simmons, we sincerely appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us, and definitely appreciate your patience. I know we're a few minutes behind schedule for your slotted availability. But with that being said, if you could start us out with an opening statement previewing your upcoming SWAC championship matchup with Prairie View A&M.
Well, first off, you're never over time when you're talking to the commissioner. So, he gets to stay on as long as he wants to. So if he cuts into my time, that's perfectly fine. But no, it's a very exciting time for us here at FAMU. And it's been a great season so far. A lot of highlights, a lot of great moments. And, it's culminated to us getting to this point of hosting the SWAC championship, something we talked about to start the season, one of our goals. And we've accomplished that goal along with the other ones we set out for ourselves. And now it's a great opportunity to finish what we started by, winning the SWAC championship game on our home field. So very excited about this week. We've got a very quality competitor coming in with Prairie View A&M. They're playing their best ball of the season. And so it's definitely going to be a challenge for us, and we're looking forward to a great game.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Simmons.
Hey, good morning, Doc.
I've been telling you about this matchup that was coming. So the two coaches finally made it happen. So I appreciate that. With that being said, I want to take you back a little bit from a historical standpoint when you were the offensive coordinator at Alcorn State back in 2014, concluding that year before you took the Prairie View head job. That was a time where you actually played a team twice. You were able to defeat them, and that team was Southern. You defeat them early in the season, 56-16, and then the championship game, which was in NRG Stadium, with John Gibbs Jr. being your quarterback, Houston native. That time you beat Southern 38-24. The preparation for a game when you play them the second time, what do you recall from that? And going into this time, is there any real difference in preparing for a team the second time around?
Well, I think there's difference in preparation every week. You look at what you're doing well and how teams will try to take that away. You look at what the other team is doing well and how you try to take that away. And so there are always things that you prepare for. I think every team gets everyone's film. So whether you do a 4-game breakdown or even a full season breakdown, you're trying to find those tendencies that the other team does. It's been 3 games that we both played since we faced each other back in late October. And so there are things that they're doing a little bit different, that they're doing better. There are obviously things that we're doing a little bit better and differently. So, you got to start over. We started our entire game plan as if this is a team that we haven't played before. So, our preparation, our approach to our preparation stays the same, but you're looking at new data and new information. And so we're going to approach it like any other game. It doesn't change because it's a championship game, but we do take into account the new games that they played as we go into this championship format.
Follow-up question is a little more along that lines in terms of preparation for a game. You had the 2 weeks off. How do you keep your team level and then have them raise that level to a championship pitch in terms of playing in the game?
Well, for us, nothing changes. We talk all the time about our standard being excellence, and that's in the school motto. That's our program motto. Our standard is excellence, and we have a firm belief that the only way to achieve excellence is to chase perfection. And as well as we played this year, we have not played perfectly yet. So we're still trying to play perfectly. That's a shutout on defense. That's 50-plus points on offense. That's converting our third downs, not turning the ball over, no pre-snap penalties, no post-whistle penalties. There are a lot of things that we can still strive for to achieve. And we talked last week about that new carrot, putting that new nugget in front of our faces to chase. And that's what it is, So we're not looking at the results of any game this season. We're looking at that constant pursuit of perfection that we're chasing every single day. And if we lock in on that, that'll get us to the level of preparation that we need to be ready to play our best on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach Simmons. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody in Tallahassee are well. Just talk a little bit about this particular game coming up, and in particular, the coaches. You're a Florida native, and so is Bubba coming out of Merritt Island. And that's a special dynamic. You're a quarterback. He's a DB. Just talk about the game within the game, 2 gentlemen guiding their teams to the SWAC championship.
Well, don't say it too loud that Bubba's a Florida native. They don't take too kindly to outsiders there in Texas. So he's been there long enough where I think he kind of fits in now, but you may have jarred some memory when you tell everybody he's from Florida. but no, man, Bubba's one of my best friends in the profession. Just a phenomenal individual. Enjoyed working with him those 3 years there at Prairie View. And I'm extremely excited about the success that he's having. He's a first-class individual, and I know he's going to have those guys ready to play. And so, in sports and in life, oftentimes you get a chance to compete against, your friends. And some of the most fierce, I tell our players all the time, I wouldn't consider myself a fighter, from back in the day. But the fights that I did get into, they were all with my best friends. The tussles on the basketball court or playing football, and one of your brothers tackled you too hard, and then you get into a little scuffle. That's the only time I allowed someone to draw me into a fight, was with my best friends. And so, it's a part of the competition. It's going to be a fierce battle between 2 friends. There's a mutual respect there. We'll talk before the game. We'll talk after the game. And, but we're both excited about the success that we're having. So looking forward to a great contest against a guy that I have the utmost respect for. And because I know Bubba and how I know he's going to prepare those guys, I know we can't definitely, fall asleep and think that this team isn't going to come in ready to play.
Coach, in closing, one of the greatest atmospheres in college sports and in HBCU in particular, just talk about Bragg Memorial. The fans are right on top of you. It's a festive atmosphere. You can smell the barbecue. I mean, it's definitely a sight to see.
Yeah, definitely. One of my joys is to run out of that locker room, that tunnel every Saturday and see a packed house. of screaming fans on Orange and Green, the student section, the Marching 100, DJ Loose Kid, our alumni side. It's a great atmosphere. And I don't the one secret that we do have that we haven't brought out. We had a distraction committee that we pulled out a couple of years ago. So we might have to bring it out this weekend. Grambling people will remember that. So we got a little trick up our sleeve to make sure that we keep those Prairie View boys distracted a little bit.
Thank you, sir. Have a good week.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. 3 years ago, the school announced that they were moving to the SWAC. And since that time, your football team, aside from a couple of losses along the way, have been pretty dominant in the conference. In preparing to move to the SWAC from that time till now, how are you prepared to be in this position to play for a SWAC championship?
Well, I think the formula for success stays the same. I don't excuse me, I don't think it matters what conference you're part of. You look across the college landscape at any level, it's the same formula. It's really good play on the offensive and defensive lines. It's solid quarterback play, and it's solid special teams play. And obviously it takes recruiting good players. And so we have really good players here. Our staff has done an amazing job of identifying talented young men, who are self-motivated, who want to be a part of something special, that come in and go to work every day. But, you look at our lines, we're deep. We got good size, we have good athleticism, but we have a lot of depth. We've faced some injuries on both sides of the line this year. The second practice of the season, we lost our left tackle for the year. He's a first-team all-conference performer. Our center has been out battling injury, 3 of the last 4 weeks. We've had other guys go down on the defensive line. Anthony Dunn, our sack leader, has been out the last few weeks. And so the fact that we can still roll guys in and playing at a high level really bodes well for us. And then you look at the quarterback position. Jeremy Moose is playing as well as anybody, I believe, in the country at the position. So I've always felt that that's the formula for success, no matter whether you're in the MEAC, the SWAC, the Big Ten, ACC, Missouri Valley, the teams at the top of their respective divisions. I think that's a consistent thing across them all. And so our commitment to those things, I think, is why we've been able to be successful in the MEAC as well as the SWAC.
As a follow-up question, Coach, your program was in the playoffs in 2021, and I know you guys were pretty excited to be there. Now you're preparing to play in the game. If you win it, you go to the Celebration Bowl. From your perspective, how's the preparation and mindset different preparing for a playoff game as opposed to preparing to play in the conference championship game?
I wouldn't say it's different. For us, again, we try not to change. We try to be as consistent as possible. We feel that that's the way the guys operate the best. We're creatures of habit. So when you start switching up to have the routine because of who you're playing or where you're playing, I think it throws the guys off a little bit. It's always a challenge during the first round of the playoffs because it's during Thanksgiving week. And so now you're planning to practice, feed the guys, and navigate Thanksgiving. So that was a little bit of a challenge for us. But as far as this week's preparation, it's a normal work week. No work stoppages, no holidays. So we're able to go about it just like it's a regular season game. So I think that'll bode well for our guys because, again, they're used to the routine of coming in on Sunday, meeting, scout report, having Monday off, going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then some walkthroughs on Friday and get ready to tee it off on Saturday. So we've only lost one game with that routine this season, and I think it bodes pretty well for us.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, HBCU Overdrive. How you doing, Coach Simmons?
I'm well, Doc. How's it going?
I'm doing good. So we talked about early this season, we talked about your slow starts in the first half and then your fast starts in the second half. And then by probably game 7, game 8, you started to pick up more as far as being a whole, somewhat a complete team. What do you tell your guys about keeping, the pedal to the metal as far as offensively and being dominant on defense?
Well, it's about us just leaning on our philosophy. And, we have our 7 Fs in our program, and one of those Fs is fast. So we want to start fast, obviously. We want to come out the gate. Another F is fight. So we want to continue to compete throughout the game. And then the next F is finish. And they just happen to come in order, fast, fight, and finish. So we want to start fast. We want to compete throughout, and we want to make sure that we finish the right way. And so if we use those, philosophies along with our other four, we'll play the game that we're capable of playing. I think when you look at us throughout the season, when we weren't doing those things or when we weren't playing well, it was because we were lacking in one of those areas. And so that's been the point of emphasis. Like I said, again, I just try not to switch up the message from week to week as far as who we're playing, where we're playing, the magnitude of the game. I just think you lend yourself to having emotional highs and lows when you do that. Our message is going to stay consistent, whether it's the Orange Blossom Classic, Homecoming, the Florida Classic, in this case, the SWAC championship game. Prepare to be our very best when it's time to perform. That's why everyone in the country gets those same 6 days of preparation. And it's the team that shows up that's taking advantage of those 6 days that's going to have the best chance to win. So it doesn't change matter based on the opponent. We have to worry about ourselves. And if we do that, I think everything else takes care of itself.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Time for two more questions. First one goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash with the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you?
Hey, Dwayne.
Yeah, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, especially with Kendra's question. You talked about the success that you've had there, Florida A&M. I just want to know, outside of competing for a conference championship, how does this year differ from the previous years of success that you've had there, Florida A&M?
We're still playing. That's the difference. This is as long as we played since we've been here. 21, we lost in the first round of the playoffs. And so the biggest difference is this weekend after Thanksgiving, we're still in preparation. Everybody else has turned in their shoulder pads. They're turned in their uniforms. We're still rolling. And so that's a blessing to be in this position. And I want to make sure our team understands that blessing and we, internalize it and allow us to go out there and practice the way we should, because we do get this great opportunity.
And outside of the roots that you discussed in terms of building a good program, how are you still capable of executing success throughout an entire year like that for the past 4 years that you've coached?
Well, I mean, it's just in your preparation. I think anyone who does anything successfully prepares to do so. There's no luck in football. Just like there's not a lot of luck when it comes to being successful in life. The people that prepare for it, they're rewarded with success. And so, nothing comes easy to us. If you watched us in August, practicing in 100-degree heat, you watched us this summer, during the spring, doing our fourth quarter program, at points during this season, whether it be cold or rainy or whatever the case may be, the elements that we've had to overcome, our guys have continued to work, and again, we understand that in order to get what we want, we got to go take it. Nobody's going to give it to us. We firmly believe we get everyone's best shot every week. And so the only way that you can guarantee that you're ready to play is that you prepare that way. And our guys have done a great job. We have great senior leadership. We have a lot of guys that are fully vested in what we're doing. And they understand the assignment every week to come out and practice hard every single day, to be locked in meetings, to go to treatment when you're injured, to take care of their bodies and rest, and just do the things it takes to be successful. And we talk about those habits across the board. So I think that's, our guys have bought into that. And I think that's why we've had the level of success that we've had since we got here.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Last question goes to Jason Bristol.
Hi, Coach. When you look at the film of Prairie View, what jumps off the screen, if anything, to you when you look at their tape?
Well, they're opportunistic. They've taken full advantage of some opportunities especially the last half of the season. Pick six versus Pine Bluff. Alabama Snake snouts the ball over the punter's head. They get the ball at the 1 yard line and punch it in. So when you have those type of moments where you can generate points in unconventional ways, again, it really helps your football team. And so they're a team that really takes advantage of the blunders of the other team. And that's something that I remind our team about. Good teams don't beat themselves, but good teams also take advantage of when other teams beat themselves. Like I said, if you watch high-level teams across the country, if a defense gets out of their gap, it's not just an explosive play, it's a touchdown. If a team blows a coverage, it's not just an explosive play, it's a touchdown. if a guy misses a protection, it's not just a sack, it's a strip sack for a touchdown. So, really good teams take full advantage of the opportunities that they have presented in front of them. And that's what Prairie View's been able to do. So they've taken advantage of some blunders by the other team, and they've really positioned themselves to be here, even when their statistics aren't as gaudy as maybe ours or some other championship level teams are. They still do a really good job in the turnover margin.
Thank you.
Coach Simmons, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again at the championship game this weekend.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You have a great week.
Appreciate it. All right, next we go to Prairie View A&M. Head coach Bub McDowell. Once again, if you do have any questions for Coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M. Coach, first and foremost, thank you so much for your patience. I know we're a few minutes behind schedule, but do want to thank you for your time. If you could please start us out with an opening statement, just previewing your upcoming matchup with Florida A&M.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we just again we're ready to go down to FAM and play a really good football team. And they have shown to be a good football team all year long, and rightfully so. I mean, you hear Coach Simmons talk about it in his preparation, getting these guys ready to go, keeping them ready to go, and try to get out there and win a game, a SWAC championship. And we're doing the exact same thing here. So we coming in off the break, guys were high energy and ready to go. And as I told them, let's go out this week and put together some good practices, that will lead into the weekend, and hopefully go down to get ready to go to FAM and play a really good football team and hopefully come out with a win.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Charles. What's up, buddy?
Hey, obviously 3-game win streak since you last played FAMU. And probably the more obvious question is, what has been the catalyst for change? Or was there a quote unquote come to Jesus meeting where you guys just sort of figured things out?
Yeah, we still have those come to Jesus meeting. We have it every day. We have it every day. We're still trying to figure it out. The ball has bounced in our favor. Coach Simmons talked about us taking advantage of turnovers, and we've done that. And we preach that to the guys, daily. About when the opportunity presents itself. Be it that we have to be able to score when we're in position to score, make it happen. When we're in position to stop the guys from getting first down, be in position to do that. Special teams, all that, as well as turnovers. Again, as good as he said, good teams, they take advantage of turnovers of other teams, and that's what we're about. And we've been doing that going down the stretch, and just. More important, just having them understand that this is where we are right now as a team, knowing that we hadn't been there, but we're peaking at the right time, and we just got to continue to stay on that same path. Again, going up against a good football team, we got to go in there with all guns, all cylinders, as the young bucks say, and put it together to in order for us to win this game.
A quick follow-up. We talked back when training camp opened, and you said the message going into this season was to finish. You felt like you were close a lot of times in 2022. But is there an addendum to that theme of finish going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, that's been our motto, from start when we had a close one against TSU, and we showed that we can finish it. We beat them, in the last minute, draw the ball down where we need to get into field goal range, and won that game. And of course, going forward, still, other teams we didn't finish, or then, as you said, got back on a winning streak, 3-game winning streak. And again, that's been preached, been talked about, on a daily basis, and again, in order for us to be as good as we want to be and capable of being, we got to finish drives, we got to finish third downs, get off the field, and we got to pin them deep, when we when on special teams, or vice versa, when the ball is kicked off to us, we got to finish that block to get our guys, in good field position. So it's been finishing. It's been our motto all year long, and again, we're picking at the right time. So that's always a good thing.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
It's Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Mendel.
What's up, Doc?
Doing well, doing well. Back in 2021, obviously, wherever you played for the SWAC championship game, that time you headed on the road to Jackson. You were not the head coach, but an integral part of the staff. And then last year, just a game away. Is there anything you gleaned from that experience that helps you prepare this group of guys as the head guy going back into Tallahassee for a championship game?
Oh yeah, a lot. Again, just going finishing out the finishing what we started. Again, and I always tell guys try not to look back, but certain situations you have to look back. Valley game last year. And again that SWAC championship game against Jackson, and again you have to look back and see things that you did wrong, and and bring it to their attention. And like, hey, you know what, we can't do this. You guys have to be able to do the things that's gonna help you win this game, and to go back and let them know, hey, this is what you didn't do, that you should have done. You can't do it against a good team like this going into a SWAC championship game, and you got to be ready to play championship football. So in order for us to do that, to play championship football, cut down on mistakes, and again, as we said earlier, alluded to earlier, finish every play, as if it's your last play, and in order to do that, you got to get it ready, throughout the week, because I always tell them that, hey, whatever we do in practice, it's going to carry over to game time. So we put together a good game plan, good practice throughout this week, and we finishing plays out here on the turf. Those things going to carry over into the game on Saturday.
Follow-up question: you talk about practice this week. It's my understanding they're supposed to be inclement weather potentially in Tallahassee, including rain. Is there anything that you do in the preparation this week to expose kids to potentially playing in that inclement and rainy weather?
No, again, we've been pretty chilly here. I mean, throughout the week, and again, I guess the only difference again is just the rain with the ball being wet. We'll do some things starting tomorrow to get our quarterback, wide receivers ready for that as well. So again, they got to know. I mean, again, no matter what the weather is, again, they got to go in with the mentality that, they got to go out and play football, 4 quarters of football, no matter what the conditions are. Because, again, I guarantee you, family's not worried about that. They're going out. They're going to be ready to go. And as I tell them, you guys got to be ready to go. You got to match their energy or be better than, your energy has to be better than theirs in order for us, to have a chance to win in this game. We can't go back down in Tallahassee and put up a performance that we put up last time.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup and good luck.
You're welcome, Doc.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody at Prairie View are well. Talk a little bit about your quarterback play, Trazon Conley, and his development, and that gentleman. When you look at him as a player, what are you seeing from him?
Maturity. And again, that's, it's at the right time. Again, we talk about it all the time about things that, offensively that we leave out there that, potentially could help us be in games throughout the whole year. But for some reason, we missed those plays, we missed those marks. So, seeing him, develop, getting better as a quarterback, as a leader, going down to this home stretch, to help us, win games, to get to this position we are right now. And again, that's a mark of a leader, and that's what we've been waiting on. And, as I told him, you just got to go out and continue to play football the way that you're capable of playing, putting up stats, putting up numbers. And again, you're that guy. So you got to go out there and show guys that you are that guy. Not only your teammates who believe it, but America. People are going to be watching you. You're going to be getting looked at by NFL teams across the country, and Canadian teams. And I told them, and again, I put those pressure on these guys because I want them to go out there and perform. They always talk about, what they need to do to get looked at. And as I tell them, these are the type of games that, you need to go out there, shine and perform if you want to be that next guy, to be looked at to get to that next level. And, and he's been doing that down the stretch. And again, more importantly, he's taken on more so of that leadership role, getting guys ready to go, telling them what they're doing wrong, what they should be doing and what they're not doing to help the team out, be it just small things like, just talking too much, when we're trying to go over a play. And, to see that, is showing the maturity that I've been looking for in that young man all year long.
Hey, Coach, you are a Prairie View, Texas man, but you grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
And you're bringing your football team back down to Tallahassee on Saturday. Just talk about the atmosphere and going in and just being able to play a football game, the SWAC championship on Florida soil.
Yeah, we're blessed. I mean, no doubt about it. We're definitely blessed to be in this position to go against a really good team. Everybody, I mean, he'll tell you, I'm a big Willie Simmons fan, man, from day one when, Coach Robinson brought him in here. I know what kind of success he's had at on this level, just the football level itself, and, to be able to go down there and play again against this team, is an honor, and like I told guys, now we just got to go down there, and play better football than we played last time, man, because the atmosphere is going to probably be greater, more exciting, more energy than it were for their homecoming weekend that weekend. So we got to be up to challenge. The challenge is on us. We got to go in there and disperse that energy, for 4 quarters of football, man. And I think they definitely started that yesterday when they got back and got out there on the field and showed that they were ready to go. So again, it's gonna be a great atmosphere for college football. 2 teams, that have deserve to be there. Again, just gonna go out there. We just got to go out there and give you guys a show. And as he said earlier, and we've been saying all year long, the team that goes out there and play 4 quarters of football is going to be the team that's going to win this game.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Lionel Mosby.
Hey, good morning, Coach Bubba. This is Lionel with the PV versus Everybody podcast.
So, Lionel.
It's been over a month since the last loss, right? Obviously, that was against this FAMU team. So the team has gone on, won 3 in a row, 3 huge games, obviously, to get in the SWAC championship game. And I know Coach Simmons mentioned a little bit earlier about the team being, very opportunistic. But what does the team have to do to not just simply take advantage of opportunities, but go out and create their own opportunities in order to win this game?
I mean, just do what they're taught to do and what they're capable of doing. And again, we could have been in a lot of football games throughout the course of the year. But again, when you don't do what you're asked to do, as Coach said earlier, filling those gaps defensively, boom, touchdown, not tackling, which we was not good at, early in the year. That's a big factor. Again, offensively, taking advantage of the plays that you're supposed to make, and when the plays are there, you just got to make them. I tell guys all the time, I challenge guys all the time, you got to offensively, defensively, you got to make plays that, people don't think you can make, whether it's that great catch, what is that, that great run, that great cut, hitting that gap, bursting through to get that sack or get in an INT, whether you're taking it for a pick 6 or again, just, stopping them for that all-important 3rd down possession. So you got to go out and do your job. And if they do that, again, we're fine. I mean, when we do it, we're one of the best at it, and as well as I know, you guys been around football a long time, is how we get them to do that for 4 quarters of football, play after play.
I got you. Just a follow-up question. PV has been very competitive since the turn of the century. Obviously, we talk about the last 2 decades having the best winning percentage in the SWAC against SWAC competition. But even though they've seen a level of success, obviously only got over the hump to win the SWAC championship in 2009. What would it mean for you as a second-year head coach with a program that has seen a level of success, but what would it mean for you to help this team to get over this next hump in front of you and win SWAC championship?
It would mean a lot because I've been here 13 years, and again, we've been in situations where we, should have been in SWAC championship. Even when Coach Simmons was here, didn't happen. Been one game away, boom. Then went to SWAC championship in Jackson. I thought we had a chance to win it. Of course, it didn't happen. And then last year, we go back to last year with Valley. We got too big headed, went down the Valley. And didn't happen. So, I throw all that back on these guys like, man, when you have the opportunity to take care of business, we got to be able to do that, it will be, again, such an honor to do it because we've been there so many times and then just fell short, and I remind guys of that, the past, and those that wasn't here, remind them of where we've been and where we came from and where we at right now, and just taking advantage of the opportunity. But again, in order to do that, you got to be able to play 4 quarters of football, man. I guess a really good football team, and again, that team that go out and play, the hardest, the fastest, and do what is taught and do what is asked of them. It's going to be a team that win the game. And like I said, they have a great opportunity to start their legacy here at Prairie View, which is what we talk about all the time. And they're going to be ready. I think they're ready to go, man. Like I said, it's just about them going out and taking care of business and doing what they're capable of doing, for 4 quarters of football. Least mistakes, making tackles, making plays, and, give us a chance to win this game.
Thank you again so much, Coach Bubba, for answering me, and much success on this weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll try to get 3 more questions in. First one goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. When the season started, not many people outside of Texas expected you guys to be here, with you guys being picked to finish 5th within the division. Did you guys use that as fuel or bulletin board material throughout the year?
All day, every day. all day, every day. It wasn't a moment that I didn't remind them of it, And again, and rightfully so, because again, I thought, again, I know a lot of teams had a lot of young guys coming back, majority of their teams coming back, and we lost some guys, but we still had guys that took us where we were last year to have a winning season, and again, to be able to play in this SWAC championship, but again, fell short. And then to get voted, where we were at the beginning of the year, I used that fuel. I used that all year long with these guys, and I'm still using it.
And no need to rehash what happened to you guys the last time you faced Florida A&M, but I do have to ask, leading up to the game this Saturday, are you guys revisiting that film from that game? And if so, what has that felt like going through that review?
Yeah, we have. And again, I want them to see it. I want them to feel it, because again, I want them to understand that, first half of football, that was them. The second half, I don't know who that was. And I told them at the end of the game, I mean, you guys are like 2 total different teams. We can't be that second half team that we played against Florida, the Rattlers last time. We got to be that first half team, for 4 quarters of football. And again, if you go out and do what you're asked to do, we can be that football team again. We just, that second half, we pointed out all the mistakes and bad play that they did. And anytime you do that against a good team or okay team, bad things gonna happen for you. Good things gonna happen for that opponent. Coach Simmons said it again. You ain't hitting those gaps where you're supposed to. Making those tackles, and then boom, next thing you know, it's a touchdown. And shoot, man, that second half, of that game last time was bad. We make sure that that they know that, because again, they can't do that again against a good team like this.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 questions. Doc Holliday goes next. All right, we'll go to.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to get my phone. Coach McDowell, Doc Holliday, HBCU Overdrive. How you doing this morning?
Rob?
I'm doing good. So tell me about. I'm gonna be honest with you. I picked you to finish first in the West this season, as my preseason pick. But tell me about how you telling your defense these last three games. Basically, what the outcome of your defense from the last three games. Tell me what you let us know what you told them during that three game stretch run.
It's nothing different than that we've been telling them all year long. Again, it's just those guys, now just they understand that they just got to go out and make the plays. I mean, they're there, but again, you being there and not making the play is totally different than you being there and making the play. So again, they just got to go out, and make the plays that they're capable of making. Coach Rock has done a phenomenal job getting these guys in position along with the others, his assistants. These guys are preparing. They prepare hard every week. And again, as I tell guys, I'm like, the coaches are here, day in, day night, preparing, getting guys ready to be in position, putting you guys in position to make plays. Now, who's gonna be that guy? Who's gonna go out? Who's gonna make that play? To help us be successful. And again, we put it to them. We put the challenge to them, man. Like, hey, you got to make the tackles. You got to have, the gaps that you're supposed to have. You got to have that coverage that you're supposed to have. All these things that you must do in order to win a defensive battle against not only against a good team like Coach Simmons has over the route, but any team. And again, you can not do it, and talk about it later what I should have done and how I could have done it, and as opposed to you do it right the first time, and hopefully some good things will follow behind it. But again, I mean, these guys know what we expect of them, and they have to just go out and do what we ask them to do, being in position to get ready to make a play.
Appreciate you taking my question, Coach.
Last question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, I want to talk to you just real quick about Keyshawn Johnson and just find out kind of what has he meant to your defense?
Man, he's been in the world. Again, he's one of them dudes that, again, very smart, very verbal, and that's what you want in a linebacker, guys. And you guys, again, it's nothing I'm telling you guys that you don't already know. That's what you want, man. You want a leader in the middle, on that defense that can get the front lined up, that can turn around and get the secondary lined up, and to his left, to his right, get his two partners lined up, and get ready to make plays, and it's about communication with him, man, and that's what you want in a guy like Keyshawn. Always communicating, always getting guys lined up, in order for us to be successful. And as I say, I keep reiterating, if you have a guy like that in the center of your defense that can do that, it makes it much more successful that, good things are going to happen when everybody's communicating and all on the same page.
What about him kind of away from football? I mean, what kind of young man is he?
He when he first got here, he was very shy. I mean, he didn't say a whole lot, but now, man, he's opening up. He's very comfortable with talking trash. Which is really surprising to me. To hear him talk trash. And he and Trezon, I mean, they're really good buddies. And man, he's the type of guy that will, I mean, even call Trezon out. During practice. Throw a bad ball or a bad read, he'll call him out, man, like, hey, man, what are you doing, man? Like, you suck, man, you suck. You don't throw the ball like that. So, and that's what I love about it. And Trezon takes it, they're best of buddies, and they try to improve on it. Trezon do the exact same thing with him. Like, he'll tell him, like, hey, because, Trezon, when he tucks it and take off running, it ain't too many going to catch him. And, I remember one specifically, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, Trezon, wide open, and he just took it and ran, and he was just holding the ball out in front of Keyshawn's face, like, come get me. So it's a little thing like Yeah, it was little things like that. Those two been having fun with, and then making each other better. But like I said, he's becoming more and more verbal with the defense, opening up more just outside of the football as well. And again, that's what we want. We want these guys to be able to talk, not only on the field, but out when they're out, just with each other, getting to know one another.
And what about him as a playmaker? I mean, what stands out to you there?
Again, I mean, in order to be a playmaker, you got to know what you're doing, and he's a film studier. He studied film a lot. So, and this is why he made plays, because he knows what to do, he knows when to do it, he knows when to take chances, and when not to. And that's all marks of a good football player. I mean, and he's gonna do that. I mean, it's one thing he's gonna do. He's gonna watch film and know what's going on to put himself and other guys in position to get ready to make a play, to be successful, to help this team win.
For sure. Okay, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. And good luck this weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, my man.
Coach McDowell, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to catching up with you this weekend.
All right. I just want to tell Coach Simmons I'm not bringing a pound cake this time.
Appreciate it, Coach. All right. Thank you, all of our media participants on our call. We will get this call processed on Zoom. We'll send it out here momentarily. As always, thank you for your participation on our coaches' media sessions throughout the season, and we look forward to seeing each of you this weekend at the championship game. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew.